Alrighty guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Ironman. On the end of last episode we managed to get our first unique that's actually useful from Araxxor, but it's been on my mind for a while. The fact that I'm only using regular venom potions is definitely hindering my ability to kill this boss, not to mention the zombie axe, but the former I think I can fix faster than the latter, and I think that's going to make a big difference. I've been doing herb runs quite frequently, and if we get to 90 Herblore, which we're close to 89, we'll be able to get a +4 boost and make some super anti-venom plus whatever the hell. So that's going to be the first plan of attack. I'm going to finish up this trip really quick. Still very much going off the excitement of the end of last episode, but yes, Herblore is going to be the plan of attack for now, and then maybe we'll get some more Araxxor drops with the 174 remaining kills. I don't know what's going on with Herblore at the moment. It seems to be glitching out a bunch with the Regent pouch. So I'm kind of just doing the old 14-14 as the old school way to do it. But there is 89 Herblore. One more to go. We can get ourselves a +4 boost for that aforementioned anti-venom plus, which I'm very excited for. Now it's time we find out if we've got enough resources to get to 90. Herblore is a pretty challenging skill to train at the best of times on Ironman, but I think with what I've got in the bank, there's a good chance I'll get at least quite close. In other news, we've hit 2150 total, and it's starting to feel like maxing this account isn't too far away. The whole pipe dream of making sure this happens is starting to feel quite realistic, if I'm totally honest. The fact that Herblore is getting this high is a bit of a green flag, and I don't think I've ever really done as many farming runs as I have on this account. Something's different this time around. We're going to finish it strong. After our brief little LMS Herblore session, it was time to head back to Graardor and make all of the decently high level potions into some herbs and ready to make with secondaries, a little bit over 7 mils worth. Now I must admit, this is a pretty monumental moment and everything. We're about to hit 90 Herblore, fantastic, getting closer to base 90s. However, I've made a critical error in my judgment. If I open up my bank, you'll see what I mean. So, what I've come to realize is that a torstal weed is required to make an anti-venom, and the problem with that is that I put all of my torstals into unfinished potions, and the only thing I can create with that is Zamorak brews. So I've essentially wasted about 300 torstals. So on the good side, we can make the anti-venom plus or whatever the hell with the new +4 boost. Downside is I have no torstals at all. I used every single one of them for a potion that I will never use, in all honesty. So gonna do a couple farm runs and remedy this unfortunate situation. Whilst I'm waiting for my torstals to grow, I thought I'd do some fletching at the farming guild and get myself 94. The more I do this, the more I truly believe the amount of logs I'm going to get from PVM exclusively will be enough to get me to 99. I just don't know what is the case, but I just feel like it's super easy to level up. I don't know, maybe I'm just enjoying the game and the gains are just kind of coming in without too much effort, or the game's just really easy these days, or maybe column A and B at the same time. I have no clue. But anyway, I'm going to go do some cooking now, getting close to 99, but it's still going to take a few hours. Cannot be bothered doing one ticking. No, thank you. After doing a few hours of cooking at the Myths Guild, didn't quite get 99, but it was time to do some chorescape. The upkeep of the bottomless compost bucket is not something that I have to pay too much attention to, but duty did call. I was down to sub 100 composts remaining, so it was time to fill that back up, get myself 88 farming, as well as get the coal back. I've been undecided on whether or not I'll actually obtain this item, but the more I think about the smithing grind, the more it makes sense to get this done, and to get it done early. So I got myself 100 nuggets. I can now never return to Motherlode Mine. I knew that fruit stall thieving grind would come in handy later down in the line, so I'm going to make a few, what are these, Golanova pies? Botanical pies, good lord. Yeah, I'm definitely never going to remember any of this, but these will give me a +4 boost. I have plenty of doses, as you can see here. Quite early on into the account, I did get quite a stash of these things here. So Golanova, Sharapovas, something like that. So yeah, we're definitely going to be sorted for this, and we'll have as many pies as we require to make as many potions as we need. I'm probably not going to record a whole lot of these. Every time I feel like I'm under pressure time-wise, recording is impossible. But essentially what we're going to do here, once I see my stats have changed on the side over here, I'm going to add these torstals to these anti-venoms, and then these Araxxor venom sacs to the potion that creates. So it's a bit strange that the both of the upgrades occur at the same level, but this is the inventory we're going to go for. Hopefully this thing ticks down in a sec. I've just used a dragon harpoon spec, so my fishing stat will be boosted, and as soon as it is lowered down by 1, I'm going to be off to the races. Torstal, it's so weird that you use a full herb on a potion. You can tell I've never been high herblore in my life before, so it'll be done as such, and then once this goes through, we can use the Araxxor venom sacs. I guess it's not so bad that I did this for so long without these potions, because I wouldn't have accrued such a gigantic stash of these things. So these should last a while. I think each dose lasts me 6 to 7 minutes, as opposed to 30 to 50 seconds, so this is a massive upgrade, even if it does require me to eat half of a pie every 60 seconds. I'll take that trade any day of the week. Something that I did not expect, but I guess makes sense, is that my prescription goggles are actually proccing, and I'm not using Torstals occasionally when I make these potions. It makes sense because they're a secondary, but at the same time, preserving a Torstal like that feels absolutely OP. Whilst making my potions in the bank, I noticed on my minimap a dragon imp spawned, so I booked it, chased that little bugger down. A little bit nostalgic, that area, but we got ourselves a Mystic Road Bottom. Pretty happy with that. But here we are, now at the bank, we are out of botanical pies, it is time to cook up another batch. I've got myself quite a few venom-related potions. I'm giving up trying to keep track of what they're all called, but 84 with the plus, and 186 to go with the anti-venoms. With the limited amount of Araxxor venom sacs, I'll probably just make what I've got there, and that should kind of hold me down for a while. I imagine once I've got all these extended versions, the amount of Araxxor sacs that I get will go up quite a lot, and in the future, I won't be so strapped for them. And, you know, by the time I actually get to use them in the future, my Herblore level may be organically closer towards 94, so I'm going to make quite a few, but not stress about making absolutely every single one of them. I think we're going to be quite content for quite some time. It looks like you get a lot of mileage with these potions. You may be asking why I'm wearing a Slayer cape. That is because we're going to slay out another 99. That being 99 cooking, another one checked off the list. Didn't know when I was going to get this, but I need these pies. And as a result, we're going to get ourselves a cape. Coincidentally, I'll probably actually obtain that one. For those unaware, with the cooking cape, you will never burn anything ever again. So that'll come in handy for things like anglerfish and anything that I deem extremely valuable and I cannot afford to burn. Fortunately, on this range here, I do believe no pie will ever burn. I could be wrong on that. This is an interesting change. This is recent for me, not for you, I imagine, but if you right-click a Slayer ring, generally you have to kind of interface a fair bit to get to the teleport section. This update, no longer, so I can now effectively swap my left click to wherever I would like to go, or do whatever I'd like the Slayer ring to do. In my example, I use this quite often for the Fremennik dungeon teleport. That makes the Slayer ring a one-click TP. That's actually kind of busted. Jagex, decent update, not gonna lie. Pressing 1 and 3 on the keyboard every single time was a little bit tedious. But with that said, it's time to go smush the spider once again with our newfound extended anti-venom plus. I said it right, hell yeah. Holy crap, I got like very nervous then for some reason. This is insane. I played absolutely awfully like this trip and I just got my longest trip ever, as well as the combat achievement associated. So I think that's 10 kills in one trip. This is an absolute game changer. Out of all the upgrades I could have made, I severely underestimated how powerful it would be to just not take venom damage all the time. So yeah, for the first trip ever, poor performance. I'm very happy with how that went. It truly cannot be understated how much of an upgrade that is. I don't care if it's a weapon or armor or whatever you think. Getting anti-venoms extended was like well worth getting that upgrade, more so than anything else I could think of. It allowed me to get some combat achievements complete, and with the lootation of this dead spider, finally something decent to my name, the Araxxor Fang. It took quite a lot of self-control to not immediately teleport out and upgrade this amulet. For those unaware, if you combine the Amulet of the Torture with the Araxxor Fang, you get yourself a pretty juicy upgrade. So we've got a +2 prayer, +10, and then +15s all across the board. When we do this little animation, we're going to make a bit of an upgrade here. I'm actually not too sure what the difference is, so that animation is so sick, bro. Like, you get to see it once and it's gone forever. And there it is. +10 into accuracies by the looks of things, so a pretty solid upgrade to accuracy, DPS all around the boards. And this will make my trips even better. I've started to use the teleport scrolls every single trip. Now that I've got over 5 kills on average per trip, I think it's pretty much stupid not to use the teleport scrolls. So I don't know, things are looking pretty up in the world. We're looking a bit beastly, if you do ask me, my honest opinion. So between the anti-venom upgrades as well as the Amulet of Rancor, not only are we durable, we're also quite speedy with the kills. The Araxxor kills are coming left and right. We've done our full Slayer task here. It's crazy to me to see over 200,000 experience for one singular Slayer task. Necreals, you might only get like 60k, and even then, I thought that was pretty impressive back in the day. What isn't impressive is accidentally teleporting away, but to make me feel a little better, we did get a Dusties and getting ourselves 95 defense in the process. Just finishing up another Slayer task. Now, I'm in the mood for an upgrade, and it's clear to me that whatever the name of these monsters are, clearly aren't going to drop me anything. So I'm going to try something that I've not tried before, but is quite common to do on an Ironman, and that would be Bandos. Now we can get away from whatever these things are called. Don't want to talk about these. However, I've never actually tried to do Bandos with a Bofa. I've never had a Bofa up until this account. I think I just cancelled my own teleports. Also noticed that using the monk robes is like a 0.3 DPS loss, and considering how much extra prayer bonus you get, I felt like it was kind of worth it. I don't know. I'm actually torn between whether or not to use Crystal, but I want to give Bandos a go. I might try the 6-0 method. I think that's going to be the easier of the two. And when I feel a bit more confident, I might transition to the Door Altar method. The new RuneScape is so weird, but I think I'll get the hang of both of those. It'll just take me a little bit of time. So that's going to be the goal for now. I'm going to put all of this scuffed ranged equipment away and get myself into God Wars for the first time on this account. It may have taken a while, but we're starting to dip our toes into some decent PVM. It's a bullet that I've been meaning to bite for quite some time. So we'll start things off with this 6-0 method. I downloaded a tile markers pack, and the idea is you kind of just run around the room and shoot on the highlighted tiles. I've heard good things about this method, but I pretty much only did it for my first KC. After that, I really wanted to try out the Door Altar method. I accidentally teleported out of that, which kind of made things a little bit challenging. So I ended up marking some tiles, tried to get myself a KC with the Door Altar method, and to my surprise, things didn't go too badly. I'm kind of, at this stage, a little bit uncomfortable with this, still making plenty of errors, and as you can see, getting one singular kill count is a bit of a struggle. Just trying to panic, get away from the minions here as I wait for the loot to drop. I've noticed with the God Wars bosses, if you kill them, the time it takes for the loot to drop is quite a long period of time, and it is agony if you have 3 different minions trying to kill you at the same time while you're trying to wait for it. So one thing I noticed is that because my KCs are quite poor, I'm not getting too many kill count per trip, and I only have 5 hilt teleports per day. I felt like it was a good idea to get myself the combat achievement hards completed. That way, I can upgrade my Gommel's hilt to a point where I can teleport to God Wars as many times as I would like per day. There's this kind of pressure. If you've only got 5 teleports per day, you kind of have to make the very most out of each trip. And if I'm only getting 1 or 2 KC as I learn the bosses, I'm not going to get a whole lot of value out of it. So we made a bit of a pivot here. We're kind of just picking random low kind of hanging fruit achievements to go for. So things like Scurious, Crazy Archaeologist, and the Corrupted Gauntlet, just to name a few, but it didn't quite get us over the line, and it's getting harder and harder to find tasks that I feel like are easy enough for me to do, but a part of it is just not knowing what tasks are there in the first place. So the combat achievements are coming along nicely. However, I'm kind of just picking random things to do. I'll just see something on the list and be like, oh, I can do that. And it's starting to fade in the things that I can select. So I've come up with a plan. It's going to be a little bit more comprehensive, and it's going to get me across the line. I've only got 35 points left to do. Those ones where you get 5 or 6 points are really helping out a whole lot, but I'm running out of those quite quickly. At least the ones that I feel like I can do. So my plan is going to be as follows. We're going to do Skatizo for about 18 points, into Sarachnis, into Perilous Moons, and then if there's anything else that needs to be done, the Giant Mole will be the play there. I've got myself a Hydra task that I don't have the time to do right now, but yeah, I'll get to that at some point. Let's ignore my inventory setup right now. That's totally not indicative that I just went 160 dry of a specific monster. So that's the plan's next steps. Do those 4 things, get my combat achievements, and have unlimited teleports to God Wars. It's kind of funny if you ignore content for so long. I didn't realize how many of these Dark Totem elements I have. So I have, what is that, like 60 attempts at Skitizo? I'll probably end up getting more points than I thought I would. I had no idea I had this many in the bank. So it looks like the combat achievements, even if I'm absolutely terrible at all of them, I have 60 attempts to make it work. So in the end, I'll get more points than I actually thought I would, and it should make it a little bit easier on the back end. That's insane though, 60 totems, holy. So yeah, to put it lightly, I think we were pretty much set up for success. Fortunately, it did not take a whole lot of KC to pop the pinata that was the Skitizo combat achievement grind. I really enjoyed using the Scorching Bow. It's just kind of like a side note. The special attack kind of made this very easy to pull off for one particular achievement, but we managed to pop the pinata, as I said, and pretty much all the combat achievements I managed to do in maybe 5 KC, so, you know, 55 KC casually in reserved. It was then time to head to the Perilous Moons, and once again, combat achievements were flowing left and right. And all in all, in the end, we got absolutely everything we needed, way faster than we thought. You're always thinking this would take all day. I have this elaborate plan of all the things I'm going to do. Going to do Sarachnis, going to do Mole, going to do a bunch of moons, but all that took is one moons run, a few Skitizo trips, and we're finished, I suppose. All that's left to do is to go and grab the hilt. We can now do God Wars whenever. It's taking me 10 seconds to figure out which one is Berthor, by the way. My brain just melts whenever I record a clip, but it's kind of satisfying to see all of these achievements just popping off left and right. Did they move Gommel? Wait, oh no, this is what I get for scrolling through quest dialogue. Something happened to Gommel, and this, whatever this thing is, exists anyway. I'm going to claim my thing from whatever this is, and I think we'll go from there. Why do I have to say I think I've completed a combat tier? I went to claim my reward, and it didn't give me the option of the hard one. I have to tell them that I think I've claimed a new tier. I know I've got a new tier. Thank you for the hilt. We can also reduce the amount of kill count we need to get into a boss room. So not only can we teleport there an unlimited quantity, we can also get in there a little bit faster. Also a bit of Herblore experience as well, which is always handy. Our cannons can also hold 45, so that thing that I never use, if I ever do start using it, it can hold more cannonballs. But anyway, I think it's time we put the dad bod away and we get back into God Wars. I must admit, it is very nice to have that pressure lifted off my shoulders, having only 5 teleports to the God Wars dungeon per day. Just, it's not good, man. If you die like this, if you're getting flatlined by the goblin, you just know that's -1 teleport left and you've only got 4 remaining. So to have unlimited, very much a necessity, especially as somebody who's learning the boss. And I kind of just wanted to highlight the fact that a lot of these kind of Ironman series, they're highlight reels, right? You don't necessarily see everything that happens under the hood, and for me, I want to make that a little different. I kind of want to document the process, not just the kind of celebration of everything that went correct. As you will see, things didn't go to plan. We definitely flatlined quite a few times, some ways more heroic than others. I think we got chanced here. There's a Bandos chestplate on the floor, the first drop of actual significance to my name, and I almost died in the process. Fortunately, at the moment that I did die, it was safe and sound in my inventory. Outside of the God Wars, in my downtime, I've been trying to do some AFK activities. Managed to get the Vires to myself in that world. That was worth documenting in and of itself. If you've ever AFK'd at the Vampires, you know for a fact how crowded that place can be. But yeah, back into the God Wars dungeon itself, managed to get ourselves a Godsword shard number 1, and hunting these things is going to be equally important as to getting the hilt as well. I didn't realize how low the drop rate of these shards actually were, but in addition to the shard, we got some boots as well, and it's kind of like I said, it's not all just an uphill journey. There are definitely some downsides to being a total noob at PVM, but we're pursuing the grind, all right? We're making it work. We're being the cockroach that does not give up, and we're making sure no matter how many times we die, we keep coming back and we take exactly what we need. Speaking of which, there is the Bandos hilt. That is probably my favorite drop to get thus far. The chest piece is very, very close to it, but the hilt has a special place in my heart, so very relieved to get that done and dusted and out of the way. Going dry on that item in particular may have been a bit of a nightmare I wouldn't want to wake myself out of. But yeah, outside of that, getting plenty of shards and also dropping myself plenty of times. But all in all, I think we're getting a little stronger at PVM over time, and my ability to get Essence or KC in a given trip is getting better and better each time we go. So 2 shards and a hilt, 1 shard left to go. Now, despite me being at Barbarian Village right now with a knife log in my inventory, this has actually been a fishing level almost entirely comprised of getting anglerfish. The only reason why I'm in a bit of a hurry is that whilst doing my Bandos escapade, I think we're about 650 kill count at the moment, Jagex have actually released a new boss, or a pair of bosses. So with that new boss, you might be familiar with it by now, the Ice and Fire Giants now have their own boss variants, and those giants will drop me a new prayer scroll that I hope to achieve. So the cool thing about this series I've noticed so far is that whilst I'm doing content, Jagex just seems to drop stuff that's like super helpful. So despite being what feels like a little bit dry for full Bandos and a Godsword, at the very least we are given ourselves a lifeline. Freaking fishing spot just had to move straight away, didn't it? But aside from that, a lot of fishing has been going on in my downtime, and as a result, we're going to get ourselves 97 fishing. But yeah, 97 fishing, 2 levels to go. I'll have a quick check-in with the bank account to see how the anglerfish stash is going. I do like 3-tick fishing a little bit, but anything more than like a little bit is a lot, if that makes sense. I can't do it for too long before I'm just absolutely over it, but in reserves, we got a bit over 5k raw. There's definitely going to be a lot more added to that stash. I do like AFKing these days. It's quite my forte. It's just about 18,000 experience an hour, which isn't the greatest. As for the Bandos log, if I actually look in the right place, yeah, we're at precisely 650 kill count. I'm very happy that I got the hilt, but at the same time, the tassets and this last shard piece is seemingly evading me. So, gonna make a bit of a pivot over towards the new giants, hopefully get ourselves a Eagle Eye upgrade. I believe the new prayer is called Deadeye, which is pretty sick. And once I have that, I'll get back into Bandos. So a little bit of a kind of detour, but a welcome one nonetheless. Hopefully the RNG ain't too bad. I think it's about a 1 in 125, I believe, to get the new prayer scroll. So I'm going to camp there now, and however long it takes until we get it. I still can't get over the fact that the amount of like grinds that I'm doing that Jagex kind of improve live as I'm playing the game is kind of absurd. I don't think there's ever going to be like a RuneScape series I ever make now or in the future that'll ever replicate this sensation. But yeah, the Royal Titans came at a good time. We got ourselves the amulet before too long at defense level as well. And this is a nice little boss to do by yourself or with a friend. I'd highly recommend it in a duo context. But in amongst the Royal Titan kills, getting myself some agility experience, working on that passively over time, getting myself a few amulets. And the amulets definitely come in handy if you do die. It stays in your inventory when you die, so you can just teleport directly outside the cave and you can recover your items all within 5 seconds, and you can pretend you didn't die in the first place. Also managed to get myself the full staff here. You have to, interestingly enough, grab yourself a battle staff, but now I can clear out the ads quite quickly. KT almost dying on this trip in particular. Luckily, she didn't though, because this time she got herself the Deadeye scroll. Very much happy for her, but of course, I needed to follow things up with a Deadeye scroll for myself, and wasting no time whatsoever, we had to make sure that we learnt it. All in all, very much satisfied with this update. I think it was a perfect addition to the game, and I highly recommend it. If you're even new to PVM, it's very approachable. Just finishing up a farm run, humbly at the farming guilds here. We've got, in addition to such a farm run, we've got ourselves a fletching level. There is 95 coming in. I think from memory that is dragon darts, right? That's one of the last things you can ever unlock. But now that we've got the Deadeye prayer, we've got ourselves a nice little hefty increase in damage, also a nice little defense buff as well. So I think I'll be able to, instead of using Steel Skin 24/7, I might just use Thick Skin and Deadeye, and hopefully with the extra DPS, that extra 5% of defense won't matter too much. I'm hoping the Bandos kills go a little bit smoother. Sometimes the RNG can be kind of shit, and I kind of get chanced and I have to eat a lot of food, so Bandos is a bit stressful. With Deadeye, I think it just got a little bit easier. easier. But with that said, we were about, I don't know, 650 kills. Let me double check. General Graardor, where are we at? 650. The remaining 2 items are the Godsword Shard 2. I don't care where that comes from, if it's a minion or the boss. The same story with the tassets. The pet can go and screw itself. I do not care for that. I just want a pair of pants and a blade to call my own. So Jagex, they made us work for it, 299 KC to get ourselves a Deadeye, but now that we've got it unlocked, we can go ham. And despite being a little bit dry for the tassets up until this point, we can now no longer make that claim. Bandos tassets have been unlocked as 718 KC. It's been a good 24 hours. Alrighty, just a bit of an update. After doing a lot of Bandos and the Royal Titans, I've kind of been flip-flopping between agility and a bit of Herblore, at least farming the herbs. I think I'm a little over 2,000 Aventos at this point, so it's kind of good. When I'm in the standard spellbook though, getting back to Reliquary is a pain in the ass. I end up just teleporting to Camelot and taking the long way around. So I have to make it worth it, you know, I have to do agility for a couple of hours. But as you can see here, I'm now 86 agility, about halfway, I think, until 87, so it's slowly but surely trickling up. And agility is one of those skills that if I can get 50k XP in a day, I'm pretty satisfied with that. But all I need to do at God Wars from here is get myself another Godsword Shard 2. It's so strange that that is the bottleneck. I expected the hilt for sure to be something that I'd be worried about getting as a last resort. But no, just a humble God Shard 2 piece is all I need. And I thought I better show the method that I've been using, because as metas change, as the game develops, it's kind of cool to see a time capsule of how things used to be done. But the method I've been using is called the Door Altar, or the Altar Door, whatever you want to call it. And I just wanted to demonstrate how to do it for those who've never tried it. Maybe you can kind of self-evaluate. Is this something that I could be capable of? The answer to that question, when I asked myself in the past, was definitely no. So now that I've got a bit of confidence about it, I just kind of wanted to share that with you all. So I'm going to jump over to God Wars again, get my proper gear up. I don't think I'll be able to take him down with Magic Secateurs, and I'll be right back. Oh, I should mention, by the way, if you're curious to see what's in the top left, you're wondering why there's a cooldown here, this is a plugin called Marks of Grace Cooldown. It'll kind of signify when a Mark of Grace is able to spawn. For those who do not know, whenever you pick one up, they are on a cooldown. So you could theoretically, tactically wait until this cooldown is complete before you go for another lap. This is more important in places like Canifus, I believe. So now that it says run in this part, we'll now be eligible to get a Mark of Grace. Now, it's not guaranteed once it says run that you will find it. However, if you ever access the course while it still says wait, it will be impossible to find a thing. So it can be handy to kind of track, just if you want to wait a couple of seconds here and there before you start the course. You can kind of min-max a little bit the Marks of Grace that you get. But all in all, I just keep it on. I don't really pay much attention to it, but occasionally I'll see that there's like 5 seconds more of waiting that I need to do before I start the course. And had I not had the plugin enabled, I wouldn't know to pause there for a couple seconds, but it's a very minor thing. I just thought I'd address it. I was going to meet you outside the boss room, but I thought I might show you just how quickly and easily it is to re-gear once you've got yourself an inventory set up like this. You can copy this if you like, you don't need to. But all I do here is grab all my gear like this. I put the Zamorak cape on first. I know the accumulator or the assembler is more DPS, but I need that Zamorak item because I don't have like Zamorak boots that I'm wearing or anything like that. And that way we're able to not be attacked by Zami as well as Bandos minions due to this war blessing. But yeah, I'm all geared up and ready to go. I've swapped over to the ancient spellbook and pre-eaten an anglerfish. All we do from here, teleport to Trollheim, and I'm not too worried about wasting prayer points at this part because I do get the free restore from the boss room. I can just camp melee protect this entire time. You can one tick prayer flick if you really want to, but I'm not too worried. KC, I like to just go downstairs, and I like to hang around this little part here. There's a few goblins that are pretty one-hittable. You only have to do 1 point of damage for the KC to count if another minion finishes them off. My priority is taking out these little goblins, and then if I've got extras to do, I'll pop over to these hobgoblins. I make sure to walk in this area as well. That way my run is restoring this entire time, because run energy, very crucial. You'll notice I no longer use stamina pots, so it's very important that I do have a decent amount of run or I go in, and after a little bit of, I don't know, comfort with this method, you will have the ability to never use staminas, at least with a high enough agility level. And with the new run entity changes, it's kind of less and less likely that you run out of energy. You just got to make sure you're not sprinting around the boss room in between your kills. But I'm going to get KC and be right back. Now that we have got our KC, we are ready to go. If you're an Ironman here, look out for this flame. If there is no flame present, that means the Ironman instance is not occupied. I don't know if multiple Ironman per world can enter without interrupting each other. I just hop until I find a word without a flame. It's not too difficult, but I could be wrong in that. But essentially, all you want to do from here is drink your divine ranging potions, pot up. We're going to instantly have our run on, and you basically want to copy this. Now, I highly recommend checking out Lunatar's guide to this, because whilst I'll be able to show you how it looks when it goes right, he will be able to teach you what to do when things go wrong in a way that I can't do in a live commentary situation. So we're going to pot up, hop in here, and the first thing we're going to do is make a beeline for this door over here, or the door tag, I should say. We're going to shoot, and each green tag, we're going to shoot again. So it's going to run across like this. I like to color code the door and the steps that you shoot on. The red corresponds with the tiles that you shoot from whilst running to that destination. Same with the green. So it's the sort of thing that I'm quite comfortable doing, although commentating at the same time, not so much. I was going to show 2 kills, and I might even, but yeah, you can kind of autopilot after a little bit, but you will definitely screw up a lot to begin with. So don't expect to see anything fantastic the first time you try this. And little small tips I would suggest is only click on the door or the altar on the far ends, like this door tile here, or the altar tile at the very end. You don't need to click the door or the altar in these middle section tiles. But after you get yourself your first kill, you clear things up as you normally would. And depending on how lazy you want to be, you can kind of just use your blowpipe specs on this little boy and camp range prayer. If you're a nerd, you can flick between the 2 spells, or the prayers, I should say, but it really depends. If there's a lot of food on the ground as well, you can kind of be a bit lazy. But once these guys are cleared up, I'm going to reset and go start from here. You can just stick along this edge every single kill, although it's a little bit lower DPS because you kind of run across the room every single beginning of every kill. So it's kind of suboptimal in that way, but it does set you up for at least the first kill, that once you've got it in the bag, you'll be ready to go from this side. So I will gear up, wait till the respawn occurs, and I'll show you what you do from the second kill onwards. Very strange glitch occurred. Click on the door or the altar nice and safely, and I think I'm a bit delayed there, talking too much, and I'm fucking dead. But we're back here. We've just killed one for the first time. I think Steel Skin is going to be the play here, but once you see the cooldown of the boss, go on down to that 1 second mark, chuck your quick prayers on, and basically we're going to play some low-grade Guitar Hero every time we move back and forth. It's kind of identical to the process that you undergo when you're on the side, except you're just in the middle. The advantage of this is that you can shoot the boss straight away, instead of needing to run all the way to the corner before you start the kill. It's kind of like interesting that it works that way. For the first kill, you have to run all the way to the corner before you shoot. But with this one in the center, you can go from the center and shoot straight away. So that's kind of the advantage of being in the center. And I would encourage you, if you're not comfortable yet with the center, kind of push yourself to give it a go. You might be comfy along the sides, but I say maybe towards the end of a trip, try it out in the center, and eventually it won't feel too bad. It took me maybe 50 kills to fully get the courage to do it. It's a very brave gesture, I know. I kind of deliberate, like, kind of back and forth on which defensive prayer I like. You might want to use the thick skin if you're low on prayer, and your super restore drops are kind of bad, but I don't know, I find myself kind of getting poor RNG defensively sometimes, so Steel Skin might be the play. But yeah, it all comes down to how much prayer you have, how much food is left on the floor, and what your defense level is. So anyway, that is the method I use for Bandos at the moment, and that is the method I'm going to use to get myself a Godsword Shard 2. I don't know why those words are hard to say. Oh, and one tip I would like to give is that make sure your camera is zoomed out. If you're ever in a pinch, you need to be able to see the altar or the door. If you don't click on the altar or the door, the Bandos boss is just going to punch the living shit out of you. And I have heard he can send you to Lumbridge pretty quickly. So either use a different form of the resize client. A lot of people tend to use that. But if you're using the old classic layout that I'm currently using, it looks a bit scuffed, but you just need to be able to see the door, the altar, pretty much anytime you want to go back and forth. If you are too zoomed in and you're panicking, you are going to screw it up. So there's a lot of ways to screw up this method, and by zooming out your camera, you at least reduce that chance by a little bit, and every little bit definitely adds up. I can personally attest to that. I'm not going to blue ball you. This is the loot we got from that kill. Let's have a look. What do we got? A Godsword. No, never mind. Coins. It's definitely a weird method to get used to, and whoever discovered it, like, props, I'm glad to sit on the shoulders once again. It's allowed me to get drops such as a champion scroll, which is, you know, another 1 in 5k drop. We've got the longbone and the champion scroll at this point. Also managed to get ourselves a hilt duplicate, in addition to some Bandos boots. So yeah, all in all, things are going fantastically. I'm definitely noticing a difference with this Deadeye prayer. I don't know if it's the extra defense or the consistent DPS, but aside from some mechanical errors, I'm still getting some kills that are very sus, but I'm not dying as much, which is a relief. This trip has gone remarkably well. Unfortunately, the drops don't really reflect how well things actually went, but getting a few duplicates tonight has been interesting. It's weird to get a second hilt before getting a God Shard number 2. But anyway, this is a new PB. I'm going to teleport before old mate Graardor knocks my skull in half. But yeah, 173 essence. I could definitely keep going. I just ran out of ranging pots, and I'm very low on blood runes. So that's a problem I'm going to have to fix now. Going to have to get back into the Guardians of the Rift or something, because 400 blood runes, I mean, if you're barraging every single kill of this thing, that is not going to last long at all. So definitely going to be in store for a resupply. It'll be nice to get back into the Rift. After teleporting, I immediately realized it would have been infinitely more beneficial to teleport there directly. I haven't actually set up the amulet yet. There's, yeah, a bit of an error. I could never be bothered to make this upgrade in the past, because all I really do is use the minigame teleport to get to the Guardians of the Rifts. I think if I talk to old mate Lumbridge Guide, it will convert this tarnish locket into a usable amulet. I don't know if I need to restore any charges or anything, but I guess for the niche scenarios where I forget that I need a minigame teleport, this will come in handy. I didn't read a single word of that, but if this works as I expect it to, we are now at the Guardians of the Rift. Perfect. There's just one problem. I'm not red, and I need to fix that. So in the theme of talking to random NPCs, I'm going to talk to this specifically, and get myself a third red dye. That will give us the most fundamentally necessary upgrade of all time. Turn all of these into red garments. Alright, so it's a long time coming, but I think it's absolutely necessary from a drip upgrade perspective. I do kind of want to wear the Slayer cape. I think the fashion scape will be fantastic, but the only downside to that is that you lose the mining cape bonus. So, I mean, it's a bit of a trade to make. So in terms of efficiency, it's a bit of a downgrade for the Slayer, but I don't know, man. I'm torn. I don't know if I want to be efficient or if I want the swag. After about 5 additional seconds of deliberation, I ended up going for the mining cape. I also thought, if I'm going to speed things up in that regard, I probably should just buy some blood runes. The fact that I got 200,000 rune crafting experience before coming to that conclusion kind of blows my mind. I didn't realistically craft a lot of runes. I think I made 3 or 4k before throwing in the towel and buying, what, 22,000 from an NPC in like, what, 10 minutes? So I probably could have come to that conclusion a little faster, but that's okay. Rune crafting experience is always nice, as well as a couple of agility levels here and there. But of course, it was time to get back into the Bandos God Wars dungeon, and eventually we land ourselves another unique, unfortunately, a duplicate. I think Bandos fatigue is definitely kicking in. Another chest piece, it looks super nice on the ground. That's great and everything, and it's strange to say it, but I really just want the Godsword Shard 2 piece. You might have noticed my inventory, it's a little different. My gear setup also a little bit tweaked. That's because I'm going to try Saradomin for the first time in my life. I've never tried it, but I've been told it is somewhat simple, so this is going to be my kind of first run kind of gear setup. I think we're going to use some thralls. I'll need to get the appropriate runes for that. But yeah, Saradomin, I don't know how I'm going to get the KC, but I was looking at a video and it doesn't look too violent, so I think you just tag the minions with the Serp Helm as well as the Blowpipe. That guarantees a Venom hit, and by the time you kill the boss, they're either dead or close to it, and you can kind of just mop them up like that. So the good thing about this is that if I get a drop, kind of similar to a Bandos chest piece, but the Saradomin version of that, that looks like a new crossbow to my name. So even if I don't get the drop I'm looking for, at the very least I can get something interesting. Hopefully not a Sara sword. To my surprise, I just got my back blown out, and I think the biggest issue with Sara is it's going to take me ages to get KC. So I have heard of a strategy where if you unlock the next bank, you're able to bank there, and once you start being less dog shit at the boss, you can kind of just do Sara infinitely without getting KC. So to unlock the next bank, I believe I need to unlock every single frozen piece. This is going to be the setup that I use for Zami, although I think I forgot to set things up properly in the bank. I really want to have loadouts ready to go for every single thing, because it is just infuriating to kind of die or come back and have to start from scratch. So I've got to make sure that's all put into place. And I kind of just make changes where I see fit. The next time I bank, if I realize the last time I went there, I ran out of food or ran out of prayer, I can just kind of tweak things as I go. So with the Scorching Bow, it should be a piece of piss getting at least one Zami KC. That's all I'm realistically going for right now. I really want to get that Lightbearer ring, and in the future just absolutely go ham on this boss. But for now, I think with the limited special attacks that I'll have, 1 KC, definitely manageable. Anything more than that, I guess we'll see how we go. So this is going to serve as a bit of a preview to myself and maybe some of you. Once you've got yourself the Scorching Bow, if you utilize it on the Zami boss, he will be stuck in place. You can now shoot 4 or 5 additional times, depending on how the distance is between you and the boss. For this, the first kill that you ever do, you jump into this corner, special attack once, use 4 attacks, and then on the 5th attack, you'll spec him in place once again. It's a bit interesting with like a standard ice barrage. There's a bit of a cooldown. You can't just repeatedly stun him in place. For some reason, the Scorching Bow has no such limitation, and you can imagine, once having a Lightbearer, how this could be very beneficial. But there it is, got 1 or 2 KC on this trip, 1 more boss to go. And the final piece I'll need will be from none other than Kriara. I don't think I've ever killed this boss in my life. All I'm going to do is stand in this corner right here, using my Bofa and hoping for the best. Wish me luck. Not going to lie, I have zero idea what the mechanics are of that boss, but I do not care. I got myself a key. We can now go and unlock the door to next, and if we ever have a sense of competence in the Saradomin and God Wars, we might be able to skip the KC requirement. For some reason, forgot my blowpipe, but it looks from the state of my inventory, there is no way in hell that I am possibly getting a second KC. We'll finish off these minions, get my Godsword, Shard Piece 2, and forget any of this ever happened. And no, I didn't die on my way to get here, I just wanted to dress for the occasion. I saw this door before whilst I was getting my KC elsewhere. I've got all 4 pieces of the key, and I think once we do this, we open up this door, kick that bad boy in, and we now apparently have access to a bank. I don't see how this is the case, never mind, looks like it's there. I would have thought for sure it would have an icon on the minimap. I guess not. Alright, turns out the bank is on the other side of this. There surely has to be an easier way to get here than this. This is chaos. I'm just dead if I stay here. There's no way at the end of a Sara trip I can go here. This doesn't feel right. I need to do some Googling. This is ridiculous. I can't even get in without 35 KC. Okay. Google, I choose you. That was absurd. I googled it. You need 35 ancient KC, and apparently the easiest thing to kill in that room is the mages. I'm still struggling to see how that's any different than killing spiritual mages for Sara, but like a lot of people are raving about it, so I mean I'll take their word for it, but at the same time, man, that was just not great of an atmosphere. So anyway, I gotta go to bed, but at the very least I've unlocked that area and I may be able to use it in the future. Alright, I can confirm this place confuses the shit out of me, but I think I've figured it out a little bit. The mages, if you kill them, give you approximately 4 or 5 kill count every kill, so getting KC is quite quick, And getting through this door, I'm not sure if it drains your essence. I suspect it would, otherwise this seems broken. But at the very least, I see the path ahead. I don't know how to activate the bank here or who the hell I need to speak to. But all I'm seeing is a claim chest. Alright, weird. So, speaking to this ghost, whatever, we now have access to the bank in this room. It does cost 35 kill count, but that's fine. If each of the mages in this room gives me approximately 5 kill count, I can see why that would be preferential to getting kill count here, as opposed to the spiritual mages. Although, the poisoning and freezing through mage protect is a bit sus. I'm not quite sure how that works entirely, but I don't know, maybe there's hope. The mages here also drop this interesting potion. It gives you prayer and a magic bonus. It's the closest thing I'm going to have to an imbued heart for quite some time, and maybe in some niche cases I'll be able to use it, but at the very least, it'll be able to keep me topped up while I'm getting mage KC. I must admit, unlocking that next bank was not something that was intuitive to me at all, but we have improved our skills in the Saradomin God Wars dungeon at the very least, and of course with the access to the bank we can now kind of ping pong back and forth without leaving and get ourselves a new bunch of uniques. Starting off with the Sara sword, I might have jinxed myself a little bit by requesting to not have that as my first unique, but I must admit, when I saw it on the floor I was very much satisfied. Pretty cool weapon from back in the day. But in addition to the Sara sword, we indeed got ourselves the Godsword shard number 2. It is now time to make ourselves a BGS. I was very ecstatic to get that one on the floor for sure. It is finally done. I've finally gotten over 35 kill count in the Saradomin God Wars boss. I cannot believe it. I start to see the light. I can actually use the next bank. It's all starting to click. And on top of that, we got ourselves a Sara sword, as well as a God Sword shard too. The amount of retakes I've had to say with that specific word combination is absurd. But now we can go ahead, grab one of our 2 Bandos hilts, grab the rest of the shards, and we will have ourselves, in due time, a God Sword. And I don't know if I can use the anvil over here. I'm too scared to kind of test it, because if I screw something up, I lose 35 KC coming back in. So at the very least, I know it is ready to go whenever I would like. But before I do such a thing, I'm actually going to send it for a couple more trips at the Saradomin God Wars. This is where I want to end things, but the fact that I got over 35 KC, I'm kind of stoked, and I just kind of want to send it back to back. So we're going to have another Sara trip, and then we're going to make ourselves a beautiful first-timer Bandos God Sword. I think my biggest tip for Sara God Wars, at least for me, was marking the true tiles of the NPCs. I've avoided so much damage since doing then, and it's allowed me to get drops such as this one. Oh, what's that? What's that? What is that? Oh, I'm going to pick that up instantly. That's a crossbow. Get in. Normally I'll let stuff sit on the floor for a while, but for the crossbow, hell no, we make an absolute beeline for it. Mate, the dopamine I've been getting from God Wars is next level. I've been so like droned out just killing Bandos over and over. To switch things up with Sara, to get myself an armored crossbow like this, there's items on the drop table I forget about. This was one of those. I've never had this before in my life. Does it have a special attack? Yes, this is the one that screeches in your ears. I cannot wait. I don't actually know what's going to be useful for, but super stoked to get that drop. But I think it's time we go and do ourselves a farm run, because we are very close to 89 and I've been waiting to get that. I've been quite diligent with my farming runs as of late, if I do say so myself. Kind of, I thought I was going through like a little bit of a phase with farming that I'd just keep on top of it, but even though I've not been 100% uptime with it, I'm generally doing at least a couple farm runs a day, and that is far and beyond what I was ever doing in the past. I would leave this skill alone for months, wouldn't touch it once, but the habit has kind of kicked in, so I kind of went hard in the paint for a while. I've forgotten all of my entire seed stack for the herbs. This is fantastic. You cannot make this shit up. As punishment, I'm not going to allow myself to use another cape teleport, because, I don't know, some deeds just need to be punished. I cannot allow myself to get away with such garbage. That's the first... I've forgotten limpwort seeds in the past. That definitely happens. I'm not too stressed if that happens, but the herb seeds, bro... It's just a problem. But a couple more patches, we'll have ourselves 89 farming, and we're getting very close to that Falador Elite. I believe it's 91. I could easily boost it. I don't know, man. I'm very much procrastinating with the diaries. I'm kind of just enjoying the game, just playing some PVM, and I've opened up a lot of doorways I didn't think I would. I mean, literally with necks and whatnot. But the fact that I've learnt And I would say mastered the altar door method for Bandos is a pretty big step in the right direction for me. I'm the kind of person that if it's content I've never done before, I will let it rot. I will never touch the stuff. And the fact that I've picked up Bandos and now Saradomin in the very last stretches of this, didn't expect the farming level to kick in there, but there it is, 89. I don't know, man. Things just are looking up. We're at a stage in the game that I've never been in before, and it's exciting times. And I think to cap things all off, aside from this farming level, we'll go make ourselves that sword as a kind of a reflection of what we've accomplished up until this point, and very much excited for the future. With the BGS, I think I'll be able to hit like a truck in the various raids. I cannot think of where I need to go next. But yeah, in addition to the BGS itself, we've got the Bandos tassets. We've pretty much got everything useful from that boss in particular, and I guess it's just up from here. Once we get into raids, things like TOA, if we ever get the Light Bearer, I think that'll be a fantastic upgrade, and it'll pretty much unlock Zamorak. There is a method with the Scorching Bow and the Light Bearer where you can essentially perma-stun the boss and make the boss almost AFK, so I'm very much looking to get into that method, but of course, TOA will be required, and the things that we've unlocked today is definitely going to help out with that. Even if I'm terrible at the game, at least my gear can kind of carry me a little bit. It's kind of like my playstyle. I always did this in like Pokemon or whatever. I'd have like a level 100 Blastoise or whatever before doing the Elite Four. Just over-prepare so you can dominate when the time comes. And look, it's not the most efficient playstyle, but it's just kind of how I do it. And things have never really changed in that way. So it's good to get all these upgrades under my belt, and I'm looking forward to using them. But I'm speaking before I've actually got the thing in my hand. Let's go make a BGS. I think we're going to have to RP walk a little bit. We're looking like an absolute machine. I think I've officially done it. I've made the 14-year-old version of myself. Very, very proud in this moment. This is going to be a Godsword from scratch. Something I didn't think I'd ever be able to accomplish in my lifetime playing this game. And the Slayer Cape on top, a first timer there. And a bunch of additions that never existed in the first place. But I think after we combine these two, we'll be able to upgrade the Sara Sword to a BGS. I think we'll be able to actually call this a video, giving myself major Gunthorian vibes. A bit of a throwback thought just now, but there it is. The first damage has been dealt by the special attack. It is a good moment to be an Iron Man right now. Very big video, very satisfied with all the upgrades we got today, and very much looking forward to the future of the account. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.